comes, I would like to hear you play the piece first, okay? That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. Um, I want to make sure that we have good sound when we work together, and I'm hearing a lot of noise on in the background. I don't know what it is. Um, I have a booster for the internet I'm going to get. Maybe that will help a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, that actually made everything much better. Uh, at least on my end. I thought I thought you played it very, very beautifully. You know, one of the tricky things about Chopin's mazurkas is that they can have many different characters in the same piece. And many different pieces that he calls mazurkas have different tempos, different characteristics. They're based on Polish folk music, because he was Polish, but they are not based only on one kind of folk music. And I think even in this short piece, there are different sections with different characters, right? Like the first part and the end part are, of course, more of a sad song-like section, right? And then the middle part becomes more dancing and has a little bit more spirit to it. So I think we have to talk about where to change the personality and the mood to make it more varied. Um, and I think even when it's sad, I had a teacher who used to say to me, sometimes in music, we have to feel sad, but sad like we're at a party. And if you're all by yourself and you feel sad, maybe you just lie on your bed and cry, right? You're all alone. But if you're at a party and you're dressed up and you have to be with other people, you have to try not to show how sad you are, right? You have to somehow still be social and be with other people, even though inside you might be crying. You know what I mean? You know the difference? And I think this is the kind of sad, but you're still dancing. Um, can we start one more time? Good, good. Okay, and then that's the first part, what you just played now. That's very good. I think there are a few places you can be a little bit more careful not to make accents. Like when you have an upbeat, like try not to start with an accent, but can we do from the beginning? Start again? Yes. So that was very, very beautiful. That was good. So the part that comes next is kind of interesting because he puts accents, these sforzandos, on the third beat where you usually would not have an accent. And I'm very glad that you are bringing those out. There's my personal opinion is I would not wait as much as you are waiting in that one spot. It could be different ways, but I think what's interesting is how you expect something because it happens twice and then he does something different. So can we try it that way where you don't wait so much? Yeah, that's good. I think what's fun about this part is that the beginning sneaks in and we don't even realize at first, oh, he's going back to the beginning. But of course, that's how the piece began, right? But this time it's coming out of something else. And I think if we could fool people, make people, it takes them a few notes to realize what has happened. And then they realize. But I think if you could be a little sneakier, you don't have to make it, let people say, oh, she fooled me. Can you try that? That was really beautiful. That was beautiful. Now comes a new part, right? With a different character. I think more of a dance, right? So can you make it happier? Very good. Very good. So he does something very interesting with the phrasing in this part. this whole thing, um, you could almost skip, right? If you didn't play that, you could go, you could skip that whole part with all of those chromatic notes and the piece would still make sense. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like, did you ever see when you read parenthesis? What are parentheses?
So like your the numbers and things in the parentheses, you have to do that first.
You have to do it first? Oh, I see, like in mathematics. I understand what you mean. Okay, but I mean like if you're reading, sometimes you read in a book and you read a sentence and the writer puts something in parenthesis that's not part of the sentence. It's just something extra. Sometimes that's how people sometimes use it in writing. And I think that passage is like in parenthesis. It's like we don't absolutely need it, but it enriches, it tells us more about what's happening. So I think we should do what Chopin writes. I don't know if you have your music there, but in the copy I'm looking at, that part says pianissimo, very soft, and legatissimo, very legato. I think I would play it very delicately, differently from. So I would play it softer than the part that has the accents. Do you know what I mean? Can we try from? And I just want to experiment with something different because what you're doing is very beautiful, but I think it almost makes that part more important than it is. I think if it's going to sound like it's in parenthesis, I think it should probably be move more. Can you try it a little faster? See if you could play it faster. Good. Let's try it again so that there's more difference between the. So that one part is very like you're stamping your feet, ba-dum, beedly-dim, bum, bum, ba-da-da-dum, and then like it's totally different personality. See if you can make even more contrast. I like it better already. I think it's interesting. I would not, you have it twice, the same stuff, and then it repeats, right? So you're going to hear altogether four times the same thing. I wouldn't do them all the same. Like if you want one time to take a little bit of time, like you doing, then it's interesting. But if you do it every time, then it's not so fresh. So sometimes I would go into it without waiting. And then maybe the last time, then maybe do something different the last time so that it's a little more surprising. Do you know what I mean? Do you want to try it one more time, that section? I really loved that. That was beautiful. And then let's go on. Let's do the last part. Yeah, it's beautiful. So the little transition, right? You finish the part we were working on in B flat. Remember how I said there's that moment near the beginning where you fool people. They think you're going to do the same thing, and then all of a sudden they realize, oh, the opening came back. I think this is a similar part where it sneaks in, right? At a certain point, the beginning material comes back, but it sneaks in. And I think you could make it a little sneakier. So the part where you just have the one voice, that's, it says sotto voce, means like under voice, very quiet. You have this little idea, and then you have like a variation of it. And then a third time, but this time, but the third time it keeps going. And I think if you don't slow down as much as you did, then people will be, wow. Because you want people to listen to you. You want them to be surprised. You want them not only to say that Claire plays so beautifully and so perfectly, but you want them to be at the edge of their seat. What are you going to do next? It should sound like you are Chopin, like you are making up the piece. It should sound fresh, even though we know we practiced it and we thought about it. But we have to make people think that we just made it up. So I would play more simply this. And then the second time with a little decoration. And now this time. It goes into the return. Can you try it? Yeah, very good. I liked the way you did that transition. I thought that was good. And then, of course, the beginning comes back. One thing I would do technically, I would sometimes practice the left hand alone because those bass notes are difficult, right? I would just get really good at playing the left hand alone. Um, And it's a little hard to hear on Zoom, but you have to be careful when you have repeated notes in the melody that they don't sound percussive like you are poking. And that's very hard on the piano because it's not like the violin where we could play the same note on one bow or the human voice where we could make it connect. With the piano, when we repeat notes, it's like pushing a button, but we don't want it to sound that way in a piece like this. So when you have something like that, I would think like you're speaking and every word, every note has a different syllable. It speaks. They're never exactly the same. Um, Also, the part that we worked on before, I still feel I feel it needs to keep going more. Can we do from where it returns to the beginning? Yeah, that was really good, and you did everything I wanted you to do. So that's great. I wonder the ending if we could make more simple, get softer. Can you try? Can you try the ending? Yeah, I thought that was really beautiful. Um, would you like to play the whole piece for me from beginning to end, and I won't stop you? Let's do it. It's very beautiful. It's very, very good. Let me just say I gave you some new ideas, and it's hard to change things right away. And you have to think, and you should talk to your teacher about what you're going to do. I'm hearing that noise again. I don't know if it's on the recording. Oh, I do think in the part, uh, you cannot wait so much before the triplets. Very often you're waiting before the downbeat. I think it has to keep going. Just try that part. But and remember what I said about surprising people? Because you're going to play the middle part twice, don't end it the same way. Maybe when you take the repeat, don't make a retard. Just keep going, and then maybe the second time you could take more time. But I would say, look when you repeat things to make them different. It's like if you were an actor, you know what actors do, right? Someone gives them a script and they have to learn their lines, and then they have to make you believe that they're somebody else. And if you have a script and you have to say the same thing twice or three times, you have to do it for a reason, right? If you're speaking to someone, if you're speaking to your mom and you repeat yourself, you're going to do it for a reason. Like, can we go to school now? Can we go to school now? I mean, there's a reason you say the same thing twice or three times. You want to emphasize something, or and I think it has to be like that with music, that you don't just do the same thing over and over again because it's written there, but you have to have a reason why you do it again. So maybe one time you end and it's kind of light and it keeps going. And another time it's more finished and then comes something new. But you have to make it sound fresh each time. So that's what we work on our whole lives. And like you probably already know, if you've listened to recordings, have you ever listened to recordings of this piece? Yes. Not everybody plays it the same way, right? And maybe there are things I say that are a little different from your teacher, who does such beautiful work with you, who makes you play like such an artist at such a young age. But that's the thing about this music. It could be played in different ways. And the main thing is it just has to be interesting and it has to be convincing. And I think you're doing that already. And I don't hear too many people who are as young as you are who can play a Chopin Mazurka so beautifully. So congratulations. I'm glad I got to hear you play. What else are you working on now?
I'm doing another Chopin waltz.
Which one?
The one in D flat major.
Okay. Would you like to play some of the Chopin waltz for me? You don't have to, but Thank you. I know we weren't planning to do that piece, so thank you for playing it for me. I just will say a couple of little pieces of advice. I would practice the left hand alone. I would get really good at the left hand and be comfortable knowing what the bass notes are and everything. I think the fast notes in the right hand, um, you have to think, even though it's fast, like you're singing, shape it like you're singing. And also that some of them are decorative. So when you have little triplets and so on, it's almost like a little trill. They don't all have to sound all exactly the same. In other words, if you can think of which ones are part of like a little trill or a little turn, then they won't all sound exactly the same weight. And I think that will make it more decorative and fun, like Chopin intended it to be. The other thing is sort of like what I was saying with the Mazurka. I think you have to have all of this color without waiting so much. I think it has to be more simple and it has to dance. And all of the beautiful things are with dynamics, but I don't think you should stop the pulse as much as you sometimes do. You know what I mean? I think more simple. But how long have you been working on that piece?
Probably like a little bit less than the mazurka.
Less than the Mazurka, yeah. In this country, people sometimes call it the minute waltz, which is sort of silly, like you should play it in 1 minute, but I don't think that makes sense. But I think in France, and of course Chopin lived in France for so much of his adult life, they sometimes think of it as the waltz that's the dog chasing his tail. You've heard that story too? I picture that, the dog going around and around chasing his tail. It's a fun piece. I really loved hearing you play today. We have the recording that I'm going to share with Dr. Belsky, and you're very, very talented. You must be a great pleasure for your teacher to work with.
Thank you.
Did you want to ask me anything else, or your mom? No.
I think no, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it very much. I'm going to stop the recording now, okay?
For sure.
Okay. It was nice to meet you. Good luck.
Me too. Yeah. Thank you for having the class.
Thank you. Be
Yeah.
well. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.